coming?
It was not difficult because it's I lost motivation. My motivation was a undisputed world champion, and then I lost Haney. It was my last chance. So after that, I took one more belt and finished with boxing.
So
Vasiliy Lomachenko. Vasiliy Lomachenko. Hey, Vasiliy Lomachenko ain't bro, think bro, better move your feet, ho. You think now you're finding Nemo. You think my brother man about to glow, bro? Nah, you're saying he ain't young. I'ma still beat his old ass up. Y'all critics know when it comes to me, they the shit because they think why.
God damn! The Matrix!
All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. All right, man, we got some good news, as it appears that Lomachenko's coming back. And if you are a gambling man, if I was a gambling man, I would tell you that means we are going to get a fight between Gervonta Davis and Vasiliy Lomachenko. The news.
I don't like it, man. I don't like it. I don't know if it's a case of he's coming back for the money. I know that his top rank deal expires tomorrow, so I don't know if it was just a play. I don't know. But the fact is, he's 38. He's always been undersized for his division. And he's only coming back for a big fight. Like, someone's obviously said, okay, here is a truckload of money, fight this person. And there's only two people that spring.
After nearly a year of silence and a retirement that many thought was the final chapter, Vasiliy Lomachenko is officially back. But here's the part that has every promoter in Las Vegas losing their minds. The second his retirement ended, his shackles fell off. This wasn't just a comeback, it was a perfectly timed prison break from his contract. Now, at 38 years old, Lomachenko is a free agent for the first time in his professional life. And he isn't looking for a warm-up, he's looking for blood, and the names he's calling out have turned the lightweight division into a powder keg.
No bullshit! The Matrix is back. Vasiliy Lomachenko is back. Hell, Lomachenko is back. Errol the True Spence is back, fighting him Zoo in July. Hit the Tyson bell. Listen, Bud Crawford, bring your ass. Bud Crawford, come on home. Listen, I was done for today. This news broke. You guys were sending this to me. Breaking news. Vasiliy Lomachenko is coming back. Ring Magazine, they announced it. They said all over their socials, they said Vasiliy Lomachenko is coming out of retirement and is targeting a return in the fall of this year. Sources tell Ring's Mike Coppinger. Lomachenko's contract with Top Rank expires today, and he's now a promotional free agent seeking the biggest fights possible. Oh my God, hit the Tyson bell. Seeking the biggest fights possible. So he retired. He retired in a way, some fighters do that, right? They're retired to retire out of a contract. So Top Rank, I guess he wanted to be a free agent, and that's good. Right now is the perfect time to do so. You got all these different networks. You got Ring, you have DAZN, War Room, you have Zuffa, you have Netflix, you got all this shit. So him being a free agent right now and not being tied to Top Rank, that's cool.
The timing of this resurrection is almost too perfect to be an accident. On May 12th, 2026, Lomachenko's long-standing deal with Bob Arum's Top Rank officially expired. For years, critics argued that Loma was trapped in a protection program, kept away from the most dangerous fights because of promotional politics. By retiring in June 2025, Loma effectively ran out the clock. He sat on the sidelines while his contract ticked away, avoiding the wear and tear of mid-level fights just to reach this exact moment of total freedom. Now, he can negotiate with anyone, Netflix, DAZN, or the deep pockets of the Saudi Riyadh season. He's no longer a pawn on Bob Arum's chessboard. He's the king who just decided to put himself back in play.
Of course, the first thing that pops in your head, him coming back in the fall, Gervonta Tank Davis, you know that he's coming back in the fall, so that's perfect timing with him being gone, right, for 2 years. I think last time we saw Lomachenko, he was TKOing Kambosos back in 2024, which was Richardson Hitch's best performance. Let's keep that a being. That was Richardson Hitchens' best performance. And Lomachenko, did it before Richardson Hitchens, TKO and Kambosos. Look, Lomachenko and Gervonta Tank Davis, you would think that they would probably have a tune-up. So a fight against, each other, them fighting each other, would be them closer to their best and already tuned up. But that doesn't stop them from being on the same card, right? He's a free agent. Who would I want him to come back and fight? What would make sense, in my opinion, the first thing that pops in my head is Floyd Schofield III. That's right, Kid Austin. Hit the Tyson Bale. That's the first thing that popped. Listen, Lamont Roach, he's fighting William Zepeda. That was announced, right? So I'm thinking Lomachenko can take on Floyd Schofield, who is mandatory or in line to fight Gervonta Tank Davis, who is somehow he's still the WBA champion. I thought he got stripped, but I think he's still the WBA champion. With that said, yeah, you can have Tank versus Pitbull on the undercard, Lomachenko and Floyd Schofield going for that. You can do some shit. I think that's fantastic, and that'll be a big card. His comeback, right? That'll be a big money fight. And with Lomachenko coming back, there's people who have, feel very positively about Errol Spence after being gone even longer than Lomachenko with coming off of a bad performance against Bud, where Lomachenko came off of a masterful performance. But he had like little injuries that he was dealing with. And Lomachenko's record is odd for a lot of casuals. I think he's like 18-3. So you look at him like, why is he so great? No, he's the Matrix of Deuce fan.
But not everyone is buying the strategic genius narrative. There's a much darker theory floating around the gyms in Detroit and Philly. Some insiders are calling this the ultimate wait-and-see move. They argue that Lomachenko didn't retire because he was tired. He retired because the division was haunted by what the boxing world calls the Black Murderous Row. Fighters like Shakur Stevenson, Gervonta Davis, and Keyshawn Davis were all peaking at the exact same time, creating a gauntlet that many believe Loma wanted no part of at that stage. Now that Keyshawn and Shakur have spent months talking about moving up to 140 pounds, and Tank Davis has been dealing with his own career delays, the coast suddenly looks a lot clearer for a 38-year-old legend to reclaim his throne.
How difficult was it for you to make the decision to hang up your gloves as far as competing inside the ring? Was it a long time coming?
It was not difficult because, I lost motivation. My motivation was undisputed world champion, and then I lost Haney. It was my last chance. So after that, I took one more belt and finished with boxing.
So it wasn't so much a history of injuries or anything like that, it was more the motivation that helped your decision?
No, it was only motivation.
So at that time, I think were in negotiations for a fight with Tank, but the motivation just slipped away?
It's not make sense talking about this because I'm finished with boxing.
Right. So, well, congratulations on a wonderful career. Thank you for giving everybody your attention here and coming to the convention, and we wish you great success in the future.
Thank you very much.
The most explosive reaction to this news came from Shakur Stevenson, and he didn't hold back. Shakur immediately took to social media, calling the comeback lit, but quickly followed it up with a stinging insult, labeling Lomachenko as soft. The tension between these two isn't just about rankings, it's personal. There's a legendary story about a confrontation between them at the Crawford-Madrimov fight, where Loma allegedly told Shakur to step outside and settle it in the street. Shakur's response was simple: if you're willing to fight for free on the sidewalk, why are you ducking the millions in the ring? Shakur's camp believes Loma is only coming back now because he thinks the young lions are finally looking elsewhere, and they're determined to prove that the Matrix has finally been decoded.
Time Shakur saw Lomachenko outside or inside the arena during Crawford versus Madrimov, Vasiliy Lomachenko told Shakur, "Let's go outside and scrap. Let's go fight outside." Yeah, Loma was on some G stuff, and Shakur was like, "Nah, let's fight in the ring for that money. If you're gonna fight outside, you're gonna be willing to fight me in the ring then." Vasiliy Lomachenko wasn't having it. He wanted to fight on site. So I say that to point out, Lomachenko coming out of retirement just made it out outside at 135. So Shakur, he needs to forget about them telling him to fight Devin Haney. Forget about kind of being all them guys at 147. You need to stay on Lomachenko helmet. Don't let him get away this time, because if you ain't at 135, he doesn't want to fight. Loma made it clear he's not going to fight at 140. So Shakur is going to have to move back down to 135. We got Gervonta there. I'm pretty sure he going to come back now that Loma came back.
The biggest question mark surrounding this return is the biological clock. At 38, most lightweights are long gone, their reflexes shattered and their chins turned to glass. However, Lomachenko's supporters argue he isn't a normal 38 because he didn't turn pro until he was 26 and took a year-long hiatus. They claim he's fresher than fighters 10 years younger. They point to his countryman Alexander Usyk and the pound-for-pound king Terence Crawford, who are both 38 and still dominating the world's best. But there's a flip side to that coin. Lomachenko has over 400 amateur fights on his odometer. In the world of combat sports, that kind of mileage eventually catches up to you, and usually it happens all at once in the middle of a championship round.
I'm very much in the camp of bad idea, and I'm sad. I don't like it. I don't. When a fighter decides to call it quits, especially the way he did it, he put out an emotional video. I guess you do it for a reason, right? You do it because you've done everything you can in the sport of boxing. Let's not forget his amateur career, which is just insane, right? Was it 3-9-7-1 or 3-7-9-1? Crazy. When you've achieved everything you've achieved, you maybe think the body can't do it anymore. His body has broken down in camp before. I think he's had a couple of shoulder surgeries and elbow surgeries. At the time of the first retirement, he was 36. So he's probably thinking, I can't do it anymore. I've done what I needed to do. I'm just going to go and concentrate on something else. Why do you think you can do it now at 38? Why? And by the way, I'm saying this as one of Loma's biggest fans. I did a video, like a podcast video the other day, and I had to pick the most technical boxer of all time, and I picked Loma. So I'm a massive, massive Loma fan. What he does in the ring, I think he's a genius. But the fact is, it's a young man's game, and he's 38. He's 38. By the time he fights, he would have been out the ring for 2.5 years. And by the way, he was a part-time boxer prior to that. Once in 2022, he had a fight, one fight in 2023, one fight in 2024. So he's been a part-time boxer for the best part of 5 years.
While promoters are scrambling, the real power play is happening behind the scenes in Saudi Arabia. Turki Al Sheikh has already expressed interest in bringing the biggest names together, and a free agent Lomachenko is exactly what Riyadh season thrives on. Without a promoter demanding a massive step-aside fee, the path to a mega card involving Lomachenko, Tank Davis, and Shakur Stevenson is suddenly wide open. There's even talk of a tournament-style bracket to crown one final undisputed king of the 135-pounders. For Loma, this isn't just about a payday, it's about the undisputed dream that was snatched away from him in one of the most controversial decisions in recent history.
I don't like it. I don't know if it's a case of he's coming back for the money. I know that his top rank deal expires tomorrow, so I don't know if it was just a play. I don't know. But the fact is, he's 38. He's always been undersized for his division. And he's only coming back for a big fight. Like, someone's obviously said, okay, here is a truckload of money, fight this person. And there's only two people that spring to mind. One is Gervonta Davis. There's been this whisper about Gervonta returning to the ring. Maybe he's now decided finally to fight Lomachenko, and the money on offer is too big to turn down. Because that's the one thing that will grab any fighter back, right? Money. If the number's big enough, they will say, okay, let's do it. Even if they know they physically can't. The other fighter is Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson, we are led to believe, is going to sign to Zuffa Boxing. With Loma's contract at Top Rank now up, or will be up in 24 hours, it means he's a free agent. And maybe Zuffa look at that as a potential super fight at 140, maybe. Again, he'll be massively undersized against Shakur, who is, with skill for skill, on par with Loma. So skill for skill on par, but Loma's 38, he's undersized, and he's not active. It's just, lambs to the slaughter.
That loss to Devin Haney still hangs over Lomachenko like a dark cloud. Many fans still believe Loma was robbed on that night at the MGM Grand, and Haney's recent welcome back message to Loma felt more like a taunt than a greeting. Haney lived the dream that Loma feels was stolen from him, and that psychological weight is a massive part of this comeback. Loma isn't returning to fight Joes or gatekeepers. He's returning to erase the stigma of his 3 career losses. He wants to prove that the defeats to Teofimo Lopez and Haney were glitches in the Matrix, not a sign of his decline. He's fighting for his place in the Hall of Fame, and he knows he only has 1 shot left to get it right.
Lomachenko is one of them fighters, like Sean Porter. Every time he lost, it really didn't matter as much, just like in the UFC. Why? Even though it's boxing, it's because Sean Porter always lost in a very close, competitive, classic fight. For example, when he fought Errol Spence, or even Ugas. Likewise for Lomachenko, even though he has 3 losses, he was competitive in them 3 losses. To Salido, to Teofimo Lopez, and Devin Haney. Basically, Devin Haney and Teo both beat him the same way. 8 rounds to 4, 9 rounds to 3, more so for Devin Haney than Teo. Now, Teo beat Lomachenko by dominating the outside foot position, keeping it in the outside, forcing Loma to be in the inside, walk into danger. Devin had a different game plan. Devin beat Lomachenko at his own game. He let Loma, majority of the time, get the lead foot dominance from the outside to bait him inside and catch him. In fact, Devin even dominated Lomachenko more than Teo. Teo managed to win 8 rounds. Loma managed to win 4 rounds against Teo, but against Devin Haney, he couldn't win more than 3. However, just because he had a couple highlights in few rounds, all of a sudden, oh, it's a robbery. We know what time it is. Go back and watch that ass whooping. Devin Haney clearly won that fight and had him.
The ultimate endgame, the fight that would shut down the internet, is Lomachenko versus Gervonta Tank Davis. Before his brief retirement, negotiations for this fight were reportedly heating up, only for Loma to walk away. Some say he wasn't right in the head at the time, but others believe he was just observing. Watching Tank struggle against Lamont Roach and his various outside the ring distractions might have given Loma the confidence he needed. He's been a student of the game for 30 years, and while he was retired, he was likely dissecting Tank's every move. If this fight happens in late 2026, we're going to find out if the legendary Matrix defense can hold up against the most terrifying power puncher in the division.
When fighters that lost the most significant fights of their career, they always come back for more. They always feel like they have something to prove because they lost the most significant fight of their career. For Lomachenko, his dream to become undisputed, Devin Haney lived his dream. He lost to Teo, lost to Salido. The most significant fights of his career, he did not win them. Just like Manny Pacquiao. Great fighter, he lost to Floyd. He got knocked out by Marquez in the 4th fight. That's why you see Pacquiao fighting till this day. He just fought a champion, Mario Barrios, last year. Furthermore, Duran. Forget about losing to the Fabulous 4. He lost to the Fabulous 5. Benitez, Duran lost to Benitez. He lost to Leonard. He lost to Hearn. He lost to Hagler. Different ways, too. That's why he kept fighting longer than they did. He has something to prove. He had to prove something. Just like Canelo right now. Canelo, he's going to keep on fighting for a very long time because he lost the most significant fights of his career. And that's why they came out with saying that Canelo, after he did like a test, they estimated his age to be 26 years old compared to other fighters. That's how healthy Canelo is right now at 34 years old. He's still in his prime pretty much. That's why I don't want to hear no excuses, because Crawford at 38 moved up 3 weight divisions and beat him. Usyk's 38. He just finished beating up everybody at heavyweight, from AJ to Dubois to Tyson Fury, and he beat them twice. So Lomachenko is 38 as well, but he's still fresh, just like Crawford, just like Usyk. In fact,
As the dust settles on this announcement, the boxing world is divided between those who see a legend ready for one last masterpiece and those who see an old man heading for a disaster. Lomachenko has spent his entire career doing things differently, from his footwork drills to his strategic retirement. He's gambled his entire legacy on the idea that he can jump back into the deep end without a life vest. Whether he's coming back to save a struggling sport or just to collect one last massive check before the lights go out, one thing is certain: the lightweight division just became the most dangerous neighborhood in boxing again. If Lomachenko is right, he's about to pull off the greatest second act in history. If he's wrong, the young lions he's been avoiding aren't just going to beat him, they're going to retire him for good. Does Lomachenko truly have enough left in the tank to handle the raw power of someone like Tank Davis at 38? Or is this just a final attempt to grab the glory that's been eluding him? Let me know in the comments. That's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Stay tuned and we will catch you in the next video.